awareness on issues faced by youth across the world, celebrate their potential, and acknowledge their importance in the current global scenario. I said good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on which part of the globe you are joining us today. To my brothers and sisters in West Africa, I say un très bon matinée à vous tous.
Good morning to all of you also in West Africa.
I am Dr. Habeeb Salami, the Global Advocacy Director for Pathfinder, based out of the Nigeria office, and I'm honored to be the host of this webinar. Since its inception on August 12, 2000, International Youth Day has served to increase the quality and quantity of opportunities available to the youth to actively participate in society. With more than 1.8 billion young people around the world, youth make up the largest generation that this world has ever seen. It is impossible to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 without the active participation of the largest generation of change makers. Investing in family planning is critical, not only for improving maternal and child health, but also for achieving broader development goals that address the needs of young people. Many countries are actively developing strategies to expand family planning access for young people, as demonstrated by the fact that most countries have developed budgeted national action plans or costed implementation plans for family planning. However, youths need to be meaningfully engaged in the development of these plans so they can contribute significantly to the reduction of unmet need for family planning and ensure countries provide better access to family planning services for adolescents and youth. The purpose of today's webinar is to celebrate the International Youth Day and use it as an advocacy platform to host youth-led civil society organizations from West Africa through a panel to discuss the importance of youth participation and involvement in the development of countries' budgeted national action plan for family planning, and also to share experiences on the role of advocacy in ensuring stronger youth engagement in development and implementation of national action plans for reproductive health and family planning. The webinar will feature young people from youth-led organizations, funding and implementing partners, and relevant reproductive health family planning multi-country coordinating platform as panelists. We have panelists from Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Niger, Togo, Senegal, and colleagues from AFP-PAI and the Ouagadougou Partnership to share experience on progress towards stronger youth engagement. This webinar is being hosted by Pathfinder, a global leader in sexual and reproductive health and rights, with a strong bias for adolescents and youth sexual and reproductive health advocacy and programming. We believe in the mantra, nothing for us without us, and have therefore been supporting and working side to side with youth-led organizations. And with this short welcome, I would like to introduce to you our special guest today from the Ouagadougou Partnership Coordinating Unit, Ms. Djenebou Diallo, who will be also talking to us on the role that the partnership has been playing within the region. Djenebou, you are welcome. The mic is yours.
Bonjour
Hello, everybody. Thanks. Thanks, Dr. Habeeb. Thanks, everybody who's online today. It's a great pleasure for us to be connected with this activity, especially with this special day, which is the Day of the Youth. Dr. Habeeb and all the community have a very difficult job to do, and it's difficult to realize the aims that have been set for this plan. So I'm going to talk to you about our partnership and what has been done in the production of the services to help the youth. For those who aren't familiar with our movement, in February 2011, we were set up. When there was the evaluation of our aims of our movement in 2010, it was shown that there was a lot of progress that has been made. But unfortunately, in our region, in the French-speaking African country, there's a lot of challenges that we're facing with health, sexual and reproductive, and the health of the youth. So with this in mind, 9 French-speaking countries such as Benin, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Mali, Ivory Coast, Mauritania, Niger, Senegal, and Togo. I always forget one of these countries, but I've been careful not to forget one of them this time. So I recognize your presence here as all 9 countries, and I'm very happy to be in touch with you. So all these 9 countries and all the technical and financial partners put together this movement and partnership to help the youth. So the aim is to accelerate the progress in the usage of family planning services in our region. So the movement it tries to improve the coordination between all the partners to give better services to people in the countries. We have many actors who are in this region. The aim can't be a separate aim in each different country. We have to have a united aim to gain finances for these services in each country. And each country has their own different reality and different situation, but we can adapt the program to that. It's done through collaboration and cooperation at a national level and also at a regional level. Each year, the actors in this partnership share the results, and that's a good chance to see what challenges being faced in each country, and to see how each country is overcoming the challenge and how we can help each other, to see each other's experiences in facing these challenges and to share how we can deal with them in our own country. The regional health directors of education and health in each country have been in touch with us. They're showing us the functioning of the school system, health systems in each country, to see how they can duplicate and experience in their own country. At a national level, what has been done? I will tell you about what's happening shortly. Since a long time, the vocabulary has been focused on health. But when you look at the aims of this program, health is one part, but education is also a big part, making people know and aware of the situation that they're in, and the doctors can be part of this program to help with the objectives of the program, to educate people. And to help the government This education program through the doctors has been part of family planning. That's has the aim of saving lives and helping the population of children, of young women, families in general. In these 9 countries, there's a meeting of journalists, and we've been benefiting from that, and they've been sharing experiences. The concept is to see, to get youth involved in this program in each country. Getting youth involved in this process is very important because the population, they are the most important part of the population, the future population. And the youth can use this tool of our program to familiarize themselves with all the knowledge they need. Also, to sit on the table and share their experiences and contribute into the program. The youth need to get involved, and the youth can influence the decisions about what is done regarding education, family planning. And around the region, in their own region, Pathfinder, they're setting up a process of new countries to use their online tool. It's a digital tool which allows to improve health services about reproductive sexual health for youth. And it gives leadership and development and progress for youth in each country. We need the youth to be integrated in the action plan for each country. And then we can monitor the financial funding for these programs in each country. Dr. Habeeb I'd like to say to you, this tool has really helped youth in our region, Ouagadougou. They've really benefited from this online tool. Some countries, we can use this tool to congratulate the youth for taking part in the program and giving all the benefits they've given us. We try to, as soon as the process is launched, and the consultation, going to consultation with the youth, we use that as a point of discussion to get information to help our concept. And the selection committee makes sure that the youth which give the best information into the program are all part of the round table. So the consultant gathers information and makes sure that these important youth members are part of the aims and objectives of the program. Since the start of the program, that's been the case. And even in the evaluation phase, they were involved. I'd like to share, I don't know if I've passed my time, I'm allowed to speak. Talking about the issue of youth, I'd like to end by saying that I'd like to congratulate all the partners around the region for being part of this very important program. It's a movement to help the youth. We are part of the coordinating role to bring everyone together to help everyone achieve the objectives of this program, to help all the actors to achieve the best that they can as part of this program. So thanks a lot to you, Dr. Habeeb, for having trusted the youth to be part of the program to help us achieve our aims and objectives. We really appreciate that. We see progress being made, and we see how the youth are involved in this, which is very important to improving their sexual health. Thanks a lot. It's very important. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much, Djenebou, for shedding more light on the role that the Ouagadougou Partnership has been playing within the region to advance adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health, amongst other things that the OP has been doing. And we continue to partner with you and other civil society organizations within the region. With that, I would like to call on Ms. Marieme Diallo. We call her the mother of the youth. She's been a huge resource in terms of support to the youth civil society organizations within the region. Madam Diallo will introduce herself, and then she will be moderating the panel that we'll be having discussion with us today. Mariam, you have the mic.
Thanks a lot, Habeeb. It's a great pleasure for me to be in partnership with this roundtable on occasion of International Youth Day. It's a great honor for me, and thanks a lot for allowing me to speak in this roundtable today. About the pleading in the country where I am since December 2020, it's a great pleasure to accompany youth during this process, what concerns national action plans and finances for this program. Thanks a lot, Habeeb.
Yeah, so Mariam, you can go ahead and introduce your panelists, and then your session can start. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Habeeb. This roundtable has 5 main issues based around it, around national plans, national action plans, which are budgeted, PA and B. Our 5 panelists will reply to all these issues and give us their information. We'll ask the panelists to reply to the questions of the participants. And this will be done in the chat box. So please place your question in the chat box. But before that, we'll allow the non-panelists to speak. Benedict, please go ahead and speak. Thanks, Marieme. Thanks for letting me speak. Hello, everybody. I'm Councillor Benedict. I'm responsible for SOS communications for youth and for late girls. I'm dealing with the project in terms of review and progressing this project and developing the budgeted national action plan for Burkina Faso. It's a great pleasure to be a panelist with you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Benedict. I didn't want to cut you off, but it would be a pleasure to see your face also. Could you possibly turn your video on, Benedict? While all of you, when you're speaking, could you please turn your video on? That would be a great help for us. Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I'm Anastasia from Ivory Coast. I'm assistant for the integration of youth in the process of PNB. I'm the head of this program in Ivory Coast, and I'm very happy to be among you, to be speaking with you. Thanks a lot, Anastasia. Jamila? Jamila? Hello, my name is Jamila. I'm a member of the team for the youth education, sport and health. The integration of youth and collaboration I'm very happy to be amongst you today. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks a lot for allowing me to speak with you. Thanks a lot. Now, Bianca, please go ahead.
Binta, vous êtes en mute. Tu es en mute.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello, everybody. I'm Binta Diallo of the National Alliance of Youth of Senegal. I'm responsible for initial project for taking into account of youth in the Action Plan National for Senegal and the family planning. It's a great pleasure for me to be participating in this panel on the occasion of the International Youth Day. Thank you very much for inviting. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm the president of the Association for Youth Help, and I'm responsible for the National Action Plan in our country from 2017 to 2020 for Togo. I'm the only manager amongst the other panelists. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of this panel. Thanks a lot for inviting me. Thanks, Lembe. I'm the only male in this panel. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Yes, you're the only man here. Thank you. Because we don't have much time, as you know, and that's the challenge we're facing. I'd like to say that let's to stay within the time allocated. For like that, I'd like to ask 3 questions. The first 3 questions that you must answer. Remember that we have 5. I'd like to remind you we have 5 different questions. For the first question, what is the status of the national plan, the National Action Plan budgeted PA&B in your country? What is the status of this? What's happening with sexual and reproductive health for youth in your previous plans? What tool have you used to identify this? Benedict, could you speak to give an answer to these 3 questions? Okay, thanks very much, Marieme. Regarding the first question, regarding Burkina Faso, at this current stage of dissemination of information of action for the budgeted national action plan, Burkina. The plan was under the presidency of Nisabella Health. We're at the stage of dissemination of information. Thank you very much. And I'll remind you that please turn on your video when you're speaking, and then you can put it off when you're not talking. Anastasia? Thank you. Thanks a lot. For Ivory Coast, the PNB action plan was validated. We're now waiting the dissemination. I can answer to the other questions. Yes, good. The dates we found for the PNB, for the activities linked to the youth, we used this step-by-step to analyze the plan, the National Action Plan, and to get this action plan approved for our country. Thanks a lot, Anastasia. Jamila, please go ahead. Benedict doesn't feel well, that's why we can't see her camera. That's absolutely fine. Sorry about that. Jamila, are you there with us? Jamila? Jamila? If not, we'll go on to Binta instead of Jamila. Hello. For Senegal, we're at the stage of validation of results of the review of the last action plan. That's at the national level. And presently, we're in shop validating that. What we've identified at this stage is the lack of activity or the weakness of activities for youths and the lack of budget that was allocated to these activities that left us less than 2% of budget. For the budget over 4 years. For a 4-year plan, the youth, the activities for the youth were budgeted at less than 2%, which is a huge lack of budget. And these activities that were budgeted weren't adapted to their needs, so it wasn't very good. Thanks a lot, Peter. Let's go to Jamila, if she's there.
Okay, Jamila.
Yes, I'm there now. National education, family education is in the phase of being put into place. The DPS has asked the youths to put together activities since year 2020. There'll be a meeting and a workshop booked for a roundtable for putting the plan into place and mobilizing the actions put in the plan. And on top of that, to obtain the documents that are needed. The interpreter apologizes for this bad quality, sound quality for the speaker, Jamila. The population of the youth, the activities were budgeted at 9% or low percentage of the total budget, which was too low. There's a feeling that the activities are structures in 2 areas. In Nigeria, the social environment is very different, makes things difficult. The activities for youth, the tool has helped us to has helped us put in place training programs for the youth so we can analyze their needs and help them with their needs. But let's say that we can't help them much, but the youth are implied in this program. Thank you. Thanks, Jamila. There's a problem with sound quality. Could you please come nearer to the mic so we can hear you better, Jamila? Let's go to Karen. Thanks a lot. What the National Action Plan has told us from 2017 to 2020 to October, and this year, As part of the final evaluation process of this plan, the aim of this was to have a collaboration for new action plans. The difficulty that we found was that what the youth were applied in, that were involved in this collaboration from 2017 to 2020, they were less involved in the follow-up and the action plans that were done. So our plan was to get the youth more involved and we follow-up plans and action plans and to doing what was projected, what they were asked to do. So they were asked to participate in this process, to be part of it from the beginning. So the National Action Plan for Togo was adapted accordingly, according to what the total budget of the plan was also around 2% for these activities that are dedicated for the youth. Certain activities for the youth were helpful, but the resources allocated to these activities need to be increased. Because there was a lack of funding. That's where we are today. That's where we are. That's how the situation is in Togo as of today. Thanks a lot, Elambai. We've heard all our 5 panelists now. Now, we've passed to question 2. I'll ask all the participants, because I don't see many questions in the chat box. Let's open up. Let's answer these 3 questions and we'll open it up to questions in the chat box. Let's pass to question 2. What steps have you taken to check that youth are involved in the development and the elaboration of the PNB? And what are the stakeholders? What role can the stakeholders and the government play in this process? Benedict, can you answer this question, please?
Merci beaucoup, Marieme, pour la question. Mais avant de répondre à cette question, je vais revenir
Before replying to this question, I'd like to come back to the PNB. You have to note that Burkina Faso, our budget to be increased for the services for the youth. In terms of the needs of the youth in the PNB, thanks to the analysis that we've done in this tool that was given to us, from 2017 to 2020, there's 16% of activities that were done within the budget that was given to us. When we put these activities into place for youth from the budget, around 17% of them, the budget is concentrated on children rather than youth. Regarding the favorable environment for the coordination for the allocated budgets, we gave the recommendation regarding this that the budget needs to be increased to achieve the to practice the strategies that were given to us. We needed the youth to be involved in the process also. We put into place a group of please
sorti d'un plan de plaidoyer. Et il faut noter que ce groupe de
You have to note
plaidoyer
that this
est
group of
composé de
plans
25 jeunes issus des organisations de jeunesse,
had 25
les jeunes
youth in it
personnes
from
déplacées
the youth
variées,
organization
les jeunes du milieu rural et les jeunes personnes handicapées. Et
and
en
included
quelque sorte, ce
handy
groupe de plaidoyer
disabled
a mené des actions
youth.
auprès du ministère de la Santé, non seulement
And the
afin
health
que leurs
minister was
besoins
also
soient pris en
involved
compte à hauteur
so
de
that all their
30%
needs can be taken
dans le nouveau
into
PNP,
account.
et que aussi les
In the
jeunes
new
qui
National
ont
Action
évolué
Plan,
dans l'équipe de rédaction du plan d'action national budgétisé du Burkina Faso ne
and this is put into
connaissent
account
pas
in the
leurs
budgeted
besoins
National Action Plan for Burkina Faso,
adolescents et jeunes pour le suivi du
for
plan
the
d'action national
themes
budgétisé
of
du Burkina
education
Faso
and youth
en vue de pérenniser les acquis du plan passé. Merci.
to improve what was
Merci,
happening in the
merci
previous
Benedict.
plan.
Nous allons maintenant
Thanks a lot,
écouter
Benedict.
Anastasie pour cette
We'll now
deuxième question.
hear Anastasia for the second question. Go ahead. Thanks, Marieme, for this second question. I have to say that for the steps we've taken to help the youth, the first step was to train and educate the youth, including disabled people, on the tool and how to use it. This work plan within our program of action for youth, we put together a great collaboration. We integrated 5 youth within the committee, operational community, national operational community. We have to say also that we weren't able to achieve all our objectives within our plans. Each month we had meetings with PIA. All the information that we were given on this project it was decided according to the action plan program. And we were involved in the process. For Ivory Coast, our idea was very open. We wanted to involve all the different committees within our national plan. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. And that's how we've made progress with this in Ivory Coast. Thanks a lot, Anastasia. Now we'll listen to Jamila. Thanks a lot for allowing me to speak. I'll tell you about the action plan for the youth in our country. The program, we had a smart program on smartphone, and all the political and strategic documents here exist for youth. As she said earlier, youth should not have to go to a specific place. They should be able to learn from wherever they are. So initially, they should enforce their ability, improve their ability. After that, we have created a technical team to help the youth, so we can involve the youth in the elaboration of this new action plan. And in this collaboration, and we have another committee so for the organization of resources into the new National Action Plan, we've got an official budget in there now.
Pathfinder international pour qu'on puisse nous donner l'opportunité.
We're asking international non-governmental organizations to help us with this,
On puisse faire vraiment une organisation
so we can have a good organization in a general manner
que les gens s'imprègnent de ce
to help the
PAI.
youth
On l'a fait.
to follow this national action plan.
Suivi également d'un plan de plaidoyer parce que nous avons parcouru le nouveau PAIB et nous avons remarqué que
We noticed that
22% du budget
22% of the global budget, of the total budget, was allocated into youth activities. So we've launched an action plan that will be put into place. This 22% will be used up by December 2022. Created communication platforms for putting into place this action plan. We also have platforms for family planning.
Qu'est-ce qui a été fait juste là?
Interpreter can't hear due to bad quality, sound quality. And we think on our level to involve youth, to get everybody involved in the program and to get their ideas and to improve participation. That's all I have to say regarding this. Thanks for the question. Thanks a lot, Jamila. I hope everyone heard better this time. Now, Binta, Diallo. Binta.
Oui, excusez-moi, Marieme.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Ça va maintenant? Sinon, nous pouvons laisser Elagbe et après Binta va passer.
If not, Elenbe, would you like to come to speak? Elenbe? Okay. Thanks a lot. For the last question, thanks to the aim of this program, we put youth into place to be part of this advocacy. To find out the aims of the project. And the youth are involved in this advocacy plan, played part in other organizations. We wanted to be in partnership with other organizations to be in this process of advocacy. Our main message, we must have at least 30% place for taking decisions for the youth themselves, for sexual health and reproductive health, management of health and youth. We had a technical meeting with them in the beginning and with other institutes who equally played a part in this advocacy. Other youth are also involved. We have to recognize that our advocacy costs less than 30%. This was taken into account, and that's part of the commitments of Togo for 2030 that we aim to reach by 2030. We had 6 youth actually as part of our plan. We have 6 young people that are part of the budgeted national action plan for 2017 to 2020. And there was a head office which had, in a technical committee, had young people involved and helped create the aims and objectives and put into place of the national action plan, budgeted national action plan. And the validation for Togo was achieved, and there's a coordination of youth from the youth organizations, and that's put into place with the health management of health department. And that's for the well-being of all youths. So for the people of Togo, this was a great step that was achieved. That's what I said regarding the steps that have been taken in Togo. Thanks a lot.
Merci. Et nous allons sans tarder écouter Binta. Je pense que maintenant ça va.
Oui, excusez-moi, ce sont des petites coupures.
Sorry, I'll cut off. I'm here now.
Pour le cas du Sénégal, ce qu'on a fait,
For the case of Senegal, what we did,
c'est de nous organiser parce qu'il y avait un problème de représentativité des jeunes. Donc, nous nous sommes organisés en un cadre
we organized ourselves
qui est fédéral
in a consultative role between youth organizations who work in the SRPF. And this framework was a recommendation of FP23 that was put into place with pressure from UPSO. We put activities in place with this framework. As Djenebou, the documents are very technical. We had our training, we've done workshops to improve the ability, because the subject we're dealing with, we must be experts in it. We have to make sure that it's accessible for everybody. So we did our training on the strategic framework. We evaluated the budget that had to be sent to the youth and the data. We evaluated that also. We got our training with the Pathfinder International Network. Once the training was done, we started with the high-speed smartphone app, which is very interesting.
Nous nous sommes assurés un dialogue clair pour leur demander
legitimately in the review process of collaboration of the National Action Plan, we had access to this request. So currently, there are 5 youth that are participating actively and fully, and this participation is recognized the quality of the technical committee. The quality is recognized of the committee. During this participation, we checked that the recommendations are fulfilled and the challenges are overcome for the entire population. For the entire population of Senegal are taken into account. That's also the actions that we're taking. And we also have training by WhatsApp as in all other countries. What is interesting, we don't limit ourselves for the National Action Plan. We also align to other plans and other processes, such as FP23, Energy FF. And we try to participate in mobilizing resources and adding resources. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Binta. Before going to question 3, I'll just ask you to just speak slightly slowly. Please remember that you should talk a bit slowly to help the interpretation, because you're being simultaneously interpreted into another language. Let's go to question 3 now. highlight key success achieved in your different countries and the approaches for innovative advocacy used in your various advocacy engagements to achieve these successes. Let's not delay. Let's hear Benedict answer this question.
Merci, Marieme.
Benedict? Thanks a lot, Marieme.
Au niveau du Burkina Faso, si nous avons
About Burkina
très
Faso,
rapide, il faut notamment
if we
noter
gain rapid gains, got
l'apport
rapid
de
gains,
certains partenaires
you have to note that
PAIHP+, Pathfinder du Pathfinder
partnerships helped us
et
with this.
l'unité de coordination du partenariat de Ouaga. Donc, c'est vraiment l'occasion
In
pour
Douaga, they helped us a lot.
les remercier.
It's a moment for us to thank them and the other organizations that helped us for their partnership. We had frameworks and coaching which made our participation easier, and that helped with our coordination. In terms of key successes, we can note the integration of 3 types of youth in the advocacy in the National Budgeted Action Plan for Burkina Faso, and also maintaining youth in the committee and the themed committee to put ideas put into place for the health administration. I'm very thankful for this stage. It's part of the high-level government national action plan, and it's put into place as part of the budgeted national action plan for Burkina Faso. We should also note that outside this, the group of advocates had formulated recommendations to put this new activities to this plan by the editing team. We had the opportunity to launch this budgeted national action plan. We had the opportunity to participate in an activity with the health minister. He asked us to formulate recommendations for the health ministry. He asked us to work on proposing activities for the youth. So that was very interesting and beneficial for us. We worked in the various themes so that the recommendations are not hard for the youth, but they are helpful and all the needs are taken into account. This participation allows the management and decision makers for the National Action Plan editing team to edit it accordingly. So that's how we've got an excellent budgeted national action plan for Burkina Faso. Thanks a lot, Benedict. I remind Benedict not feeling very well, that's why she hasn't put her video on, but all the other participants will put her video on. Anastasia, please go ahead and speak. Thanks a lot, Marieme. I have to say that for Ivory Coast, we had a lot of successes. The first success was the advocacy in terms of PNSM, was abortion. When we finished the training for our step, it gives the necessary arguments for the first advocacy that opened the doors for the rest of the process. So it was an incredible success. Youth were involved in the entire process of collaboration. They benefited from other training. As I said earlier, and that youth activities were taken into account in the final version of the National Action Plan for 2017 to 2020. So all the activities that we listed in a workshop were taken into account in the National Action Plan. I also have to say that one of the biggest successes was that created a new organization of youth. So that was very helpful. Thanks a lot, Anastasia. Let's listen to Jamila now. Hello. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I would also start in thanking the partners that were part of this program, notably Pathfinder International, my stuff International, and PINB, Population International. They really stayed close to us and helped us through this with the financing. Regarding the technical partners, and the DPF, and the other organizations for youth. Even leaders, thanks a lot to them. The key successes that we had in the old action plan, the youth are not involved in any collaboration. However, now all the needs of the youth are taken into account, even in the technical committee for work. On top of that, there's also the fact that youth were taken as partners at every level when it comes to the collaboration and putting into place of the action plan. The youth are very, very involved. And equally, the fact that youth, the youth were listened to. So even just from 3 activities, when we took the recommendations for these, they took those into account, all the feedback and information we got from the youth. And the allocated budget was between 1% to 22%, which was satisfactory. And the fact that we integrate involved in communication platforms with the committee, with the technical committee that's responsible for creating this collaboration. And we learned and we educated ourselves at all levels. And we were involved and they were involved. So activities were good. The activities were well formulated. And we have to understand which activities are for the youth. For example, in one plan, the only thing that allowed to launch a youth activity is to find the way the youth, school, university. And that's very clear. There are activities in a report, in a communication report, and the youth are very involved at that level also. That's what we can say regarding the advocacies that we've done. Thanks very much. Thanks a lot, Jamila. Now let's hear Binta. Could you answer this question, please, Binta? Thanks a lot. The first thing we've registered, and we are proud of it, is putting into place this framework, this consultative framework, which recognizes the associations, youth associations, even if it's small, that work on the SNPF, and other organizations that help disabled people. This is very important for us. And this has been involved in other countries also. This framework we've recognized the ADSB, the management of health for children. They're allocated for us 5 places in the National Committee for research. And that's the second step we've done, having 5 young people that bring the questions and issues for youth and for family planning and for health, and for sexual health. And they spread the word and bring the issues to the table for all the youth in their country amongst the ministers. And we can be proud of that. The other thing is that there's a recognizing of the work and the expertise of the young members of this committee. We're not around the table, not just for ticking a box. No, we participate actively, we take reports, we formulate recommendations, and all that is thanks to reinforcing the abilities, improving the abilities of people and skills. And that's for the new smart advocacy tool, smart tool for advocacy. This tool gives a training for our trainers, and now we're training other youth. The last thing that helped our success, we managed to get other youth committed and involved in this, and they weren't interested by these issues in the past, and significant participation was strategic. Today, the immigrants even, these activities are not limited to a certain geographic area, but they're strategic. And for the entire Senegal, everyone can be involved. It's digital. Thanks a lot, Binta. Let's pass to LAP. Thanks a lot, Marieme. I'd also given a few ideas regarding this question 3. I'd like to come back to the plans that are allocated for the youth as part of the budgeted national action plan for Togo. A place has been reserved. We have a membership of other partners and associations that participate also in taking decisions around Togo in all different regions. And they know everything about the budgeted national action plan. They have knowledge of it. They have been trained on it. So today, in terms of recommendations, we noticed that for helping vulnerable people, and their needs are taken into account of vulnerable people. For the APNB, and giving more abilities to youth is very important. And that was reviewed as part of the round table and the follow-up National Budgeting Committee, and their efforts were recognized within Togo. Thanks very much. Thanks a lot, Elagbe. You answered our 3 questions. Now let's open up the chat box to answer certain questions from the chat box. There's a question: how many youth have you succeeded in integrating? I don't know who this question is for. It's for Burkina Faso, Niger, or Benin, or Burkina, Togo. How many youths have you managed to integrate in the committee of the elaboration of the National Action Plan? This question was asked quite a while ago. I think we've had some answers. Is that question still alive? That question was asked. The other question was the subject, the theme of the webinar, the advocacy to reinforce for the youth in West Africa, which was the other question the other was asked. I think the answers, we have answers on these questions, Jeff, without delaying, to gain time. Let's jump to question 4, and let's go to question 5 from within the recommendations. Let's ask it to Benedict, who's the first on the list. Elagbe, who's the last on the list. Benedict, what are your recommendations for sustaining these advocacy efforts in your different countries? What recommendations would you give to youths and youth CSOs in other regions? If you could give one recommendation for sustaining advocacy efforts, and what recommendations would you give to youth? Benedict? Okay, thanks, Marieme. For the first recommendation,
les efforts de
to sustain these efforts, advocacy efforts,
pour que d'autres jeunes puissent s'en inspirer,
so other youth
parler de travailler à
we can
mutualiser
talk
les
about
efforts
working
avec toute autre
to have
organisation
budgets for these efforts with all
planification familiale
intervening
et mobilisation
organizations who are involved in family planning
concernant la deuxième
for youth.
recommandation, c'est vraiment
The
de
second
créer des
recommendation
ressources suffisantes pour la
is to
capitalisation des
plan
bonnes pratiques,
capitalization of
budget pour la
good
diffusion
practices and
et
have our own
parvenir
budget
vraiment à formuler quelque
for
chose de partageable pour que les autres puissent s'en inspirer
spreading this knowledge
et
and
développer
information
et je pense que ça
so
sera vraiment
their
très,
actions
très
can be
intéressant.
adapted
Merci.
according to these
Merci,
plans
Benedict.
and information. Thanks a lot, Benedict. Now, could you give your answer to the question, please? Thanks a lot, Marieme. My first recommendation for Togo, take into account the needs of the disabled people, especially youth disabled, take into account their needs. Other youth are always trapped by other situations. The partners that accompanied us so their efforts were engaged in this with this aim in mind, and it was very important with the capacity of youths and their knowledge to ability to participate in decision making with stakeholders. The time of working together in this, putting these actions into place is very important. And to do things well, it's very important to do things well, taking into account the knowledge that the youth have learned, and to capitalize this plan. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, all of you. We're coming towards the end of this theme. We've answered all these questions. That was really rich. That was really a rich exchange of information, very helpful. Just to finish, I'm going to ask you this question. Dear panelists, and to all the other participants who are following this panel, if you had an opportunity to sit at the president of your country, what will you tell them for youths in your country? Please write your answer in the chat box.
Donc, je pense 2 minutes pour mettre les réponses dans le chat box.
2 minutes more for putting answers in the chat box. I repeat, this question is not only for the 5 panelists, but every other participant in this webinar. Please do write your answers to this question in the chat box. This question is for everybody that's in this webinar. I'm looking at the chat box, but I don't see other questions. So, really, dear panelists and dear participants, this is very rich in information, very deep in information. This webinar is very beneficial for all of us. We learned a lot. All the financial opportunities is a great concern for youth, and getting resources that are needed, and to getting enough resources is the best means to guarantee the sustainability of these youth advocacy and progress for the youth. We should also take into account there's a national impact and regional of these plans, and improving the skills and abilities of the youth concerning the different tools and approaches that are made available for the youth. And that's mentioned here. When I think of the smart advocacy, I think of online tools and the budget advocacy that makes things better for everybody, that improves lives of the youth and the evaluation of the national action plans. Thank you very much.
La parole est à toi. Back to you.
Wow, what an exciting discussion we've had today. Thanks so much to all our panelists for sharing their experiences on how they've been engaging with the governments in their countries in the review of their old national action plans for family planning and in the development of the new budgeted national action plans with priority adolescent and youth access incorporated. We've all had their recommendations in terms of what youths and youth organizations in other countries should do as a learning from the experiences that we've seen from these 5 countries. A very big thank you again to our panelists and of course, their moderator. We've all heard from the youths today. They are calling on governments in their different countries to continue to show strong political will to the needs of young people. They want governments to prioritize youth in economic opportunities, provide educational and health facilities, and combat poverty in order to ensure that the burgeoning youth population translates into economic growth and development for their countries. They will countries the democratic so that they can have improved inclusion of young people and invest in young people. So on that, I say thank you very much to all the participants online that have joined us. We've tried as much as we can to answer some of your questions, both on the chat and the question and answer box. You can still keep your questions coming. We'll try and get back to you for those that we've not been able to answer while this webinar was on. We say a very big thank you to everyone and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Au revoir et merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
Thanks everybody. Goodbye. Merci les interprètes.
When global health leaders to
Merci,
understand
au revoir.
that it is important to build a more resilient, sustainable, and youth-focused and friendly health system. It should be run by young people and for young people.
À cette table, je demanderai aux leaders mondiaux d'élargir leur portefeuille sur ce qui concerne la santé sexuelle et reproductive des adolescents.
So to provide resilient health services and healthcare facilities, we need to go to communities and identify their problems and provide according to their problems.
Prenez en compte les personnes sourdes et handicapées dans vos différentes initiatives concernant la santé sexuelle.
thought leaders to understand that it is important to build a more resilient, sustainable, and youth-focused and friendly health system. It should be run by young people and for young people.
À cette table, je demanderai aux leaders mondiaux d'élargir leur portefeuille sur ce qui concerne la santé sexuelle et reproductive des adolescents.
So to provide resilient health services and healthcare facilities, we need to go to communities and identify their problems and provide according to their problems.
Prenez en compte les personnes sourdes et handicapées dans vos différentes initiatives concernant la santé sexuelle